She can't eat again, can she? What a nuisance. Thomas's voice cut through the restaurant air like a knife. Anna smirked beside him, Luke fiddled indifferently with his napkin, and 9-year-old Ellie could only lower her head, fingers twisting the hem of her dress tightly. Every bit of mockery shrank her a little more, and as I watched, a resolute determination surged within me. Tonight was not just another dinner. Tonight, I would make Thomas and Anna taste the echo of humiliation, make them understand that past indifference and disdain carry a cost, and that their regret would burn like fire, impossible to ignore. Thomas was my ex-husband, accompanied by his current wife, Anna, and their son, Luke. Anna sneered lightly, holding up her phone. Quick, take a photo, everyone smile. This is our family weekend moment. Luke had already taken up his napkin to wipe his mouth, like a little aristocrat, while Ellie only kept her head down, as if hoping to vanish entirely. I stood in the corner, peering through the gaps in the crowd. Her dress was wrinkled, her shoes scuffed in a few places, and she was so thin her collarbones were nearly visible. A chill ran through me. This wasn't the first time. For the past 3 weeks, every weekend, she had endured the same torment, going to upscale restaurants, watching them eat the food she longed for while she could only have water or breadsticks. Thomas would claim she had already eaten at home, but no one ever gave her a proper meal. Sometimes she even vomited from hunger. I gritted my teeth, eyes watering, knowing that acting on emotion alone would not protect my daughter. Over the past year, Thomas and Anna had continually flaunted their so-called perfect family life in front of my daughter, not just wealth, but their lifestyle. Every call, Anna's sweet, syrupy voice would say, "You should feel lucky, at least you get to see family happiness." I knew she meant Ellie's humiliation. Thomas had even once told me outright, "You can't provide a real life," implying my parenting was insufficient. The insult made my teeth ache with rage, but I knew that any rash action would only harm my child more. After my divorce from Thomas, my life didn't stop. I moved downtown, started a small design company, earned a stable income, and provided Ellie with a safe, comfortable home. Every time she returned to me, I tried to make up for the neglect she suffered in her father's care. But nothing could fully heal the loneliness and injustice in her heart. I silently vowed, if this ever happened again, would make Thomas and Anna pay, make them realize the severity of neglect and humiliation. I contacted my brother, Mark, who owned 2 restaurants in the city, along with a few industry friends. I told him everything, my daughter being ignored at the dinner table, going 3 weeks without a proper meal, forced to watch others eat. Mark clenched his fists. Next weekend? What are you planning? I'll make sure you get it done. I nodded, my plan already forming in my mind. Over the next week, I quietly observed Thomas's habits. Every weekend they went to upscale restaurants, Anna always in the latest designer outfits, Luke displayed like a trophy child. I documented everything, ensuring the action was justified. Meanwhile, my lawyer friend Emily prepared emergency protection documents in case things escalated. During the wait, I monitored Ellie closely. She grew quieter, smiled less, her shoulders slightly hunched as if trying to shrink away from indifference. My heart ached, almost suffocating, but I knew I had to remain calm. She had once said to me, "Mom, they won't let me eat, but I don't want to make them angry." In that moment, my heart felt as if it had been torn apart. Finally, the day of reckoning arrived. Friday evening, I arrived early at the restaurant with Ellie and Emily, taking the best window-side seats. The restaurant lights shimmered on the wooden table, candlelight flickered, and the air was filled with the aroma of spices and roasted meat. The server politely led us to our table. "Here's your reserved table, please enjoy." I nodded, eyes scanning the street entrance, waiting for Thomas and his family. At 7:30 p.m. sharp, they arrived. Anna in an expensive red dress, Luke in his new leather shoes, Thomas wearing a gold watch, his face bearing the usual sneer. Ellie squeezed between them, still holding an empty napkin, eyes flickering with unease. I saw her trembling slightly and felt a surge of determination. This had to end tonight. Thomas smiled at the server. "We need a few minutes to look at the menu." He quietly said to Ellie, "You don't need to order, you've eaten already, right?" Ellie lowered her head and shook it faintly. The air seemed frozen. The server glanced at me, brow furrowed. I took a deep breath, walked over to Ellie, and said clearly and firmly, "Of course she's hungry." She hasn't had a proper dinner at a restaurant for 3 weeks. The server froze. I ordered Ellie's favorite chicken pasta and the most expensive appetizers for the entire table. The dishes soon arrived, aromatic and visually stunning, and I handed the bill to the server. All of it's on me. Thomas's face instantly changed, Anna nearly dropped her phone, and Luke frowned, confused. I sat down, took out my phone, and signaled to the server, "You can record everything, photos and videos are fine." I turned to Thomas. "Emily has already submitted an emergency protection application. Your behavior constitutes neglect. I've collected Instagram photos and her recent medical records." Thomas stammered, You can't do this." I looked at him coldly, pointing at the food. "You cannot make her watch while we eat. She should eat. She must eat." Mark now emerged from the back of the restaurant, scanning the room. "Thomas, Anna, you are banned from all my restaurants. Any further misconduct will be reported to the authorities." Luke whispered, "So, we can't come here anymore?" Thomas lowered his head, fingers tapping the table, breathing rapid. She's just a child." I pulled Ellie close, whispering, "Eat, Ellie. Eat what you want." She looked up, eyes bright, devouring the pasta while Thomas and Anna sat at the cold, empty seats, forced to watch their daughter enjoy the food she deserved. I saw a flicker of helplessness and fear in Thomas's eyes. He even tried to justify, we were just trying to save money." I sneered, "Save money? Not letting your own daughter eat for 3 weeks? I've collected all the evidence. You think you can escape legal and social consequences?" Anna began trembling, tears streaming down her face. We're sorry, we shouldn't have done this." I remained composed, observing their reactions, a long-lost sense of calm filling me. Every humiliation, every instance of indifference, every time my daughter lowered her head, all were addressed in this moment. Finally, Ellie smiled, her eyes sparkling like jewels under the lights. I held her hand. "It's okay, Ellie. Mommy's here." Thomas and Anna sat powerless, silence, shock, and fear consuming them. They finally understood that no matter how perfect a facade their family presented, it could not hide the cruelty and neglect. That night, I watched Ellie eat until full, laughing brightly. She was no longer a neglected child, but a protected, respected little girl. Thomas and Anna's trembling, helplessness, and pleading became the most direct response to all the past humiliation. I knew this was more than just a dinner, it was justice, the ultimate reckoning for indifference and hypocrisy.